Okay, so full transparency, recording has actually just now started, so if you've been here listening, welcome. All right, welcome to the second lesson for how to trade options, and as you can tell, it's a little sunnier than it was the last time, so if there's a little bit of a glare, get over it. I'm just picking, but for real, kind of jumping in straight into this because I don't want these to be very long videos. The first video we talked a little bit about what an option actually is, what it's used for, what type of vehicle it is, and this video we're going to go a little bit further than that and go, where can I trade options? So I mean, you might know what an option is at this point, but if you don't know where to trade them, you're kind of stuck on a log, I guess. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the locations, but not only that, we're going to jump into exactly what you'll need for those locations, depending on where you are. I'm not going to get into any grand specifics per location, but we are going to talk a little bit about what most people are going to, or what most brokerages are going to require you to have in order to be able to trade options. So the first part of this question is very easy. Where can I trade options? Almost anywhere. If it's not a very security specific brokerage or platform, then you can pretty much trade on there. If it's like a Webull or even Robinhood, Tasty Trades, which I think is a little bit more options specific actually. Thinkorswim, Fidelity, Thinkorswim obviously owned by Schwab now. Any of these platforms, typically, if they're a trading platform, I think you could probably even trade options on Moomoo. I didn't check that before I started this video, so you'll have to go back and look yourself. But I mean, basically anywhere. So if it's easy to find a place to trade options, then what is the hard part about trading options as far as actually getting into it? Okay, so let's talk about this. I think Robinhood probably the easiest one to get into. I was approved to trade options in Robinhood before I even decided to trade options. I don't remember applying. They may have changed the rules at this point because I've been trading for a long time here at this point. But here's the deal. Most platforms, Robinhood possibly included at this point, you're going to have to apply to be able to trade options. If nothing else, typically like level 1 options may be already unlocked, but you may even have to apply for that. And I'm going to go a little bit further in detail about what that is actually later in the video. But the next thing I really want to address is cash or margin account. Okay, so people, you may freak out because you may hear, oh, you've got to have margin to trade options. This is just not true. You do not have to have margins to trade options. They are more expensive. You're not going to be paying like, $6, $7, $2, $17 per unit like you would with a penny stock. So you will need more cash in order to do that, but you do not need a margin account. If you do have a margin account, however, you need to be aware pattern day trade rules apply to options as they do to the stocks, to the penny stocks, or any other stock for that matter. If you don't have $25,000 in one account, and I know, yes, they are trying to get it bumped down to $2,000, but that's months off at the earliest, possibly even years off, if ever. So whatever that minimum requirement is in order to keep you from being restricted from trading, if you are flagged as a pattern day trader, you will need that in your account, stocks or options, it doesn't matter. However, the same thing applies with the cash account. As long as you have settled funds, you can trade. So one of the things we like to teach when we're inside of our Discord, when somebody's just starting off and maybe they have like a couple of $1,000, maybe even just $100 or $150 or $200, the best thing to do is just go to cash, because then you can trade at least once a day with a cash account because it settles overnight, right? So you don't need to wait those 5 days to unlock the margin account day trade that you just used. So if you don't know what that is, we'll have to make another video about that specifically. But cash versus margin, you do not need margin to trade options. You can use that cash account and just let your money settle overnight and then trade again tomorrow. The other thing that we want to go to is quotes. Typically speaking, you're not going to see up-to-date quotes for almost anything nowadays for absolutely free. I think maybe I know for a fact that when I first started trading options on Robinhood, the quotes were free. But I wasn't looking at an order book per se, or an options chain, or a price tree, or whatever you want to call it. I wasn't looking at that. I was just looking at the prices for the individual pieces. It's not very clear. Robinhood's still not my favorite platform to trade on for a lot of different reasons. One of them being you just don't have a lot of the pieces all at the same spot. With Webull, you can see your chart, you can see your options chain all on the same page, and it costs a whole whopping $2.99 per month to see up-to-date options quotes. And so like if you wanted to get in and be able to kind of see, the chart, the graph, being able to see the options chain, being able to see all the quotes up to date, and make all of your options trades very easily in one place, I always recommend Webull. I think it's the better place, even above Thinkorswim. I know Schwab kept Thinkorswim relatively the same from when it was from TD Ameritrade. However, it's still not the cleanest or easiest platform to use when it comes to options. Tasty Trades, I've never used Tasty Trades, so maybe it is Fidelity. Never really used Fidelity. Some of that's mostly my long-term holdings. So Webull's the way to go. However, you can do it anywhere. I know lots of people who trade options on Robinhood still and do very well with it. So just try a couple of places and see which one you like better, and then go with it. But I always highly recommend Webull, and it's $2.99 a month, literally $2.99 a month for up-to-date options quotes, and you can put everything on one page, in one chart, in one setting, and do everything from one spot. So I really love it. Now, here is where a lot of people kind of get confused, right? So I did not go into the last video about level 1, level 2, level 3, so on. And you can kind of do a little bit more research into anything beyond level 2. Level 3, you start getting to literally naked shorts. It says it on the thing, like naked positions, where you can like hold and roll these positions over, or maybe you actually probably might need a level 3 for like some of the full setup for like iron condors and all these like credit spreads and things like that can really get in depth and complicated when it comes to options. But for the basic buying and selling, you will at least need level 2. We'll go a little bit more into detail exactly what a level 1 versus level 2 means later in the videos. But for now, what you need to know is you usually don't get level 2, maybe not even level 1 to begin with. You open up your account, you start trading stocks, you're like, great, I want to trade options. Now what do? You're going to have to go to that brokerage's website, or that brokerage's command center, whatever it is. If it's if it's an app based, then maybe you can do it from the app. But like with Webull, I believe Robinhood's the same way. Fidelity, Schwab, at least, you probably are going to have to go to the main website, go fill out an application on their website, and apply to actually trade options to begin with. And so you may have level 1 options, which means if you have a boat ton of cash, or like 100 shares of something, you might be able to write contracts and get paid premiums to hold those and sell those and buy those whenever deemed necessary. If you're going to want to do level 2 options, you're going to apply, and they're going to tell you whether or not you have the experience they think you need in order to trade. Now, if this sounds a little unfair, it could be. Right. It could be that they're, just trying to hold the man down, right? Hold the woman down from us being able to trade what we want to trade. Or it could be that they're just trying to cover their butts, right? It's them trying to cover their butts. I promise they don't care if you lose your money, because every time you make a trade, they make money. But what they can't do is entice someone who has no clue what they're doing in the market to come in and spend their money on them. So here's the deal. When you go to the application, I can only tell you this short story of when I used to work at the power plant. Okay. I had a journeyman come down and I talked to this meager helper one day on the yard. And the foreman was going around asking who can drive a forklift. I have never actually driven a forklift. I knew the concept of it. I knew the back wheels turned. I knew how the up and down and extended. And, I can see straight. So I figured I could probably do this. So my idea was initially to be as honest as possible and tell the foreman, I don't know how to do it, but I think I know how to do it if you'll give me a chance. Well, no, we're busy. We've got a lot of stuff to do. There's not downtime to learn a lot of stuff. So the journeyman just quietly took me off to the side and said, if you want to learn how to drive a forklift, you're going to have to tell the foreman you already know how to drive a forklift. Now, knowing how to and having the experience to are two different things, but they're looking for experience. And so if you get denied, you may have to wait another day. If you get denied a second time, you may have to wait a little longer to reapply. But what I'm saying is if you want to express the ability to trade, this is by no means advice. You may just want to kind of tell them what you think they want you to say, right? Whatever you feel like they want to hear, you just kind of fill out the application. This is not an advocation to lie by any stretch of the imagination. But unless you have, 5 or 6 years of trading experience that you can honestly put down, the details may need to get a little smushed, but that's up to you. I'm not saying you need to, or you have to. I'm just saying that might be possibly the quickest way to do it, so that you can actually get experience, right? It's kind of like those jobs that are entry level. They're like, we want you to have 5 or 6 years of experience in this field. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Regardless, it can be a little overwhelming, a little frustrating at first, but just stick with it. Find a platform that you really like. Again, I love Webull. No, I don't have any links for Webull. I'm not going to get paid if you go to Webull. And that's going to wrap up the second video. If you have any questions, or if you don't have a Discord home or community that you trade with, people that you can surround yourself with that have like-minded attitudes about trading, who want to be good at it, and who actually put time and effort into doing these sorts of things, you can always check the link down below for It's Mike Poarch Discord. It's the Discord that I exclusively work inside of. Mike does penny stocks, I do futures. We both kind of do options, and we've got other people inside of the Discord. But the great thing about it is we have a wonderful community of people who absolutely love doing this. They show up every single day. So if you have a lack of trading community, please feel free to come check us out. We would love to see you there in the morning. I trade every single morning there, Monday through Friday, live inside the Discord from 8:30 to about 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And I hope to see you there. Until next video, keep learning.